The former Australian High Commissioner to the UK. He was a prominent figure in Australian in the political scene, having been the leader of the Liberal Party as well as the Minister for Foreign Affairs. He was appointed a Companion of the Order of Australia for distinguished service as a foreign minister. The British government appointed Alexander to a panel that supervises the implementation of the Rwanda Plan. So I'm delighted to say that I'm now joined by the man himself. Alexander, thank you so much for joining me. Well, let's get straight in and find out, why did you get into politics? It's such a mucky business.
Yes, but it's where you can change things. And I had strong views about how the economy and foreign policy, in particular, those two areas should run. And just leaving it all to somebody else or leaving it to bureaucrats to run the country, I thought I should do my part and make a contribution. And I don't think it's a strange thing to say this, but I don't think there's a greater way you contribute to your country through responsible behaviour in its government. And if you get governance right, then it's going to have a huge benefit for many, many millions of people. Of course, if you get it wrong, that can be a tragedy.
Well, you've had a pretty good career throughout in politics, and you've done some incredible things, of course, helping Australia with their situation with regard to immigration. In your view, what's your opinion on the state of the immigration system here in the UK, and what should we be doing with regard to Rwanda? Because I know the government have taken you on board to come up with ideas and see how that can be implemented.
Well, the UK is obviously and understandably a very popular country. Huge numbers of people want to go to the UK to live. It's worth thinking about this. They're not all flooding into Japan or China or Nigeria. They're flooding into the UK because it's a great place to live. So you should take that as a compliment, I think, first and foremost. Secondly, you have to have managed immigration. I mean, immigration is a great thing. There's no doubt about that. If you want your society to be dynamic and forward-looking, highly productive, then migrants are going to be a component of that. You want to bring in the smartest, hardest working people you can find, but you have to manage immigration. So my criticism of the British immigration system is twofold. First of all, it's uncapped. So, the government has no idea how many migrants it's going to bring in every year in any category. They should have a cap on the number of business migrants, on family reunions, Brits marrying foreigners and so on. You have to allow the foreign partner to come into the UK, of course. Do some resettlement of refugees. The UK should carry its share of the burden of dealing with that problem. But over and above those caps, not take people. Otherwise, you're going to end up with floods of people coming in, and that puts huge pressure on, particularly, but not just, public services, on everything from the health service and the education system to the transport system and so on. So it's got managed, and I think that is the problem. It hasn't been tightly enough managed over the years.
So the Rwanda Plan, a lot of people sneering at it, saying, well, you can only send a few people there. And, of course, this week it was ruled that it was unlawful. In your view, is it unlawful?
Well, the courts decide this, and the High Court decided it wasn't. The Court of Appeal, by a majority of 2-1, decided it was. And it will now go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will decide. I mean, the two judges on the Court of Appeal who didn't approve of the Rwanda plan said that Rwanda couldn't be counted on not to send people who are found to be refugees back to the country they originally come from. I mean, I know Rwanda. I know the Rwandan officials. I think that is improbable in the extreme. But maybe the Home Office and the Rwandans need to get together and tighten that up for the satisfaction of the courts. But most of the findings, even in the Court of Appeal, approved of this plan. And my simple proposition is this. These people who are coming and breaking the immigration system, or trying to break the immigration system, are coming from France, wherever they originally come from, they're coming from France. They're not being persecuted in France. They can either stay in France or they can go to Rwanda. They'll have that choice. That'll be a choice they have. And I think in the end they'll choose, I mean, maybe for wrong, not for right, that they'll choose to stay in France. But by the way, Rwanda is a beautiful and a wonderful country.
I know, it's unbelievable. It's famous for its gorillas. It's got beautiful scenery. It's one of the jewels in the African crown. I have no idea. It must be some sort of perception that of it being such a bad place. I know it's had its bad times, but it wasn't long, it wasn't that far away where we were persecuting people for same-sex relationships. So we can't really hold ourselves up in major harm.
And by the way, they don't. Just to take up that issue, same-sex relationships are legal in Rwanda.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is a country that pulled itself out of a genocidal civil war in 1994. It's remarkable what they've done. I mean, I know a lot of Rwandans. They're lovely people. It's a beautiful country. You're right to refer to the gorillas. It's a bit expensive to go and see the gorillas, but it's a wonderful experience. It's a lovely place. And it just gets bagged out by people who have never been there and don't know it at all. I've been there twice, and it's a great place.
Alexander Dana, thank you very much.